Luke, the 5th chapter. Luke, the 5th chapter. And start at the first verse. These verses were read. I hope these scripture, but I'll read them through again. St. Luke's the 5th chapter, begin at the first verse. Let me preface or say a few things before we read this verse of scripture, because this message may not flow with the regular messages that we've been speaking on, dealing with our theme for the year, pursuing God's purpose, pursuing God's presence, pursuing God's power. We've been dealing with pursuing the presence of God, and this message here may not fall right into that category, but it's a message for this time, for this season.
Amen.
On last Sunday, I recognized that there was a change. Something changed in the spirit. There was a shift. I don't know if you saw that movie, The Matrix. It's my favorite.
We've been married so long.
That's good.
And in The Matrix, they had entered the Matrix, and then they would get ready to come out of the Matrix, and Neo, which is the main character, they was coming up some stairs, and he saw a black cat, and then he went up another flight of stairs, and he saw a cat come back again, and he said, deja vu. And they all stopped and said, what did you just say? He said, I said deja vu. And they said, what? He said, what does that mean? Like, what's going on? He said, because in the Matrix, when something repeats itself, that means there's been a change in the Matrix. Something has happened that we really need to pay attention to. And that's what I felt on last week. I felt a change in the Matrix, like something has changed, something has happened in the spirit. And usually when something happens in the spirit, we know that something is going to happen in the natural.
Amen.
That correlates with what happened in the spirit. So we know that something has happened in the spirit. I know that something has happened in the spirit. And we know many times when something has happened in the spirit because we feel something going on in us. Sometimes your life is disrupted. Your normal flow of things is disrupted. The way you think, the way you feel, things that are happening is just a change. Just some changes are going on. And the more you become spiritual, the more sensitive you become, the more you're able to identify when something has changed in the spirit. And that alerts you that something is going to change in the natural. Amen.
Amen.
So with that being said, God gave me a message for today that's not in the norm. It's just a change because something has changed. So I can't, if I started preaching what I've been preaching, it won't even affect you all. I'll just be like, you know what, today, bye. Amen. But to really address where we are, I believe that this message God has given me to kind of address where we are. So let's look at St. Luke, the 5th chapter, and we're going to start at the first verse. Y'all ready? And it came to pass that as the people pressed upon him, talking about Jesus, to hear the word of God, Jesus stood by the lake of Gennesaret and saw 2 ships standing by the lake. But the fishermen were gone out of them and were waiting for their nets, or washing their nets, And he entered into one of the ships, which was Simon's, and prayed him that he would thrust out a little from the land. And he sat down and taught the people out of the ship. Now when he had left speaking, he said unto Simon, launch out into the deep, and let down your nets for a draught. And Simon answering said unto him, Master, we have toiled all the night, and have taken nothing. Nevertheless, at thy word, I will let down the net. And when they had this done, they enclosed a great multitude of fishes, and their net brake. And they beckoned unto their partners, which were in the other ship, that they should come and help them. And they came and filled both the ships, so that they began to sink. When Simon saw it, he fell down at Jesus' knees, saying, Depart from me, for I am a sinful man, O Lord. For he was astonished, and all that were with him, at this draught of fishes which they had taken. And so was also James and John, the sons of Zebedee, which were partners with Simon. And Jesus said unto Simon, Fear not, from henceforth thou shalt catch men. And when they had brought their ships to land, they forsook all and followed him. May the Lord add a blessing to the reading, the hearers, and the doers of his word. I want to talk about preparing for the increase.
Amen.
Preparing. We're getting ready for the increase.
Amen.
Getting ready for the increase. And I'm not going to be before you long, because I don't have a long message. Really just have a thought, or lodge something in your spirit, and just really share what God is saying to us at this particular time in our lives. What happened to Peter, the Bible also said it happened to John, to James, because they were partners.
Mm-hmm.
They was partners. We need to know who we're connected to.
Amen.
Because what happens to the person you're connected to, it's almost inevitable that it's going to happen to you.
Amen.
Because you're connected. I can say what's going to happen to you all, because if you're connected to me, what happens to me is going to happen to you.
Amen.
I know what I'm sensing, I know what I'm feeling, I know what God is doing in me, and if you're connected to me, I pretty much know what God is doing in your life. If I know that during this season of my life, this time in my life, spiritually, I feel exhausted. Mm-hmm. And I done kind of got good at it. It's like a woman, her first baby, she may clown, that second baby, she may clown a little bit. But after that third, fourth, and fifth, and sixth, after so many babies, it's like she just spit them out. She just learned how to have a baby, and she knows it's ain't gonna be just, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And I've been through this so many times until I can be spiritually exhausted and really do not know. Mm-hmm. Because I know that this is very temporary. Amen. This time, this season that I'm in is a temporary season. And when you get to this point where we all are, we are actually in a state of death. Mm-hmm. We're in the stage of death. We have died. We have died. And when you die, there's nothing left. You can't die no more. When you're dead, you can't die no more. Mm-hmm. There's nothing else to do. There's nothing else to give. Are you with me? Amen. When you're dead, I don't have anything. I can't do anything. You can punch me, and guess what? I won't even punch you back because I'm dead. Mm-hmm. The only thing that can happen when you die is that you be resurrected. Amen. Amen. It's the only thing that can happen. The next stage, the next phase that we can look for, that we can expect, that we can anticipate is a resurrection. Amen. Are y'all with me? Yes. We got to now prepare, get ready for the increase. God never does anything without letting you know what he's getting ready to do. Amen. He always wants us to be ready. Amen. To be prepared. Are you with me? Amen. Because God is so great, he can only do great things. Mm-hmm. And you have to be ready for greatness. Yes. And sometimes they have this show about people that have won the lottery. And I like watching it. I like watching those people that win all this money. And then they show stats all during the show. They show statistics about people that win the lottery. And they talk about how many people, after a year, they won the lottery. And a year later, they're broke again. They're back where they were before they won the lottery. Because they were not equipped. Mm-hmm. Amen. They were not prepared. Amen. For that kind of money. Amen. They were not trained. They were not taught. Nobody shared or helped them, and they were overwhelmed. And they tried to do what they've always done and didn't realize, but you are in a different place now. You can't do what you used to do when you was making $30,000 a year.
Amen. Amen.
I mean, you got $1 million. Man, you don't need to be going to clubs to my buying drinks. Everybody. Everybody, what you want? Amen. You're in a different place. And so when God get ready to do something great, he always prepare us.
Amen.
You need to get ready. Get ready. Amen.
Amen.
Now, before I read this, before I say something about this, turn with me. This is maybe a challenging book to find, but turn to 2 Chronicles. I'm sorry, I think it's, let me see, maybe 1 Chronicles.
First.
Let me see. Sorry. 1 Chronicles. The 12th chapter. 1 Chronicles, 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 12th chapter.
Amen.
1 Chronicles, the 12th chapter. 1 Chronicles, 12th chapter. Everybody have it?
Amen.
Look at the first and second verse. Now these are they that came to David to Ziklag, while he yet kept himself close because of Saul, the son of Kish. And they were among the mighty men, helpers of the war. They were armed with bows and could use both the right hand and the left hand, hurling stones and shouting and shooting arrows out of the bow, even of Saul's brethren of Benjamin. And I'm going to skip down. Look at the 8th verse. Got it?
Mm-hmm.
And of the Gadites, there separated themselves unto David into the hold to the wilderness of men of might and men of war fit for the battle, that could handle shield and buckler, whose faces were like the faces of lions, and even as swift as the roe, which is a deer, upon the mountains. Now look at the 24th verse. 23rd verse. Sorry. Got it?
Yes.
And these are the numbers of the bands that were ready, armed to war, and came to David to Hebron to turn the kingdom of Saul to him according to the word of the Lord. 24th verse. The children of Judah. Now watch this. The children of Judah that bear shields and spears were how many?
6,800.
6,000, over 6,000 men. Look at 25th verse. Of the children of Simeon, mighty men of valor for the war. How many were there? 7,000. 26th verse. Of the children of Levi, how many?
4,600.
All these people coming to David. David is in the wilderness at Ziklag. He's at the city. He's running for his life because Saul is trying to kill him. And look at all these men, 12 tribes of Israel. They're sending men to help him fight against Saul's army. Saul have his whole army after David. Y'all go find him and kill him. Bring him to me. And David is running. He's out there in the woods. And here is Israel sending men to David because they said, we need to go help David because Saul gonna kill him. And he's our next king. Saul is trying to kill the next king of Israel because he's jealous. So look how many men they're sending. Thousands of men. And these are men that are skilled men. They know how to fight, right? Look at 27th verse. And Jehoiada was the leader of the Aaronites, which were with him. How many were there? 3,000. 28th verse. And Zadok, a young man, mighty of valor, and of his father's house, how many?
22.
Now they sending over captains or managers, people that know how to organize, administrate. These are captains. Okay? Look at the 29th verse. And the children of Benjamin, the kindred of Saul, how many of those?
3,000.
Look at the 31st verse. And of the tribe of Manasseh, how many? 18,000. Wow. We skipped the verse. Look at the 30th verse. And the children of Ephraim, how many?
20,800.
20,800 mighty men of valor, famous throughout the house of their fathers. Look at the 32nd verse. Y'all ready?
Yes.
And the children of Issachar, which were men that had understanding of the times to know what Israel ought to do, the heads of them were how many?
200.
200 men. Look at the correlation between all the other tribes. Look how many people they sending. 10,000, 18,000, 12,000, 3,000, 4,000, 20,000. And then here go Issachar. We got 200 people that we can give you. But look at the quality of these 200. Why does it not take so many?
Smart.
Because look at the 32nd verse. And the children of Issachar, which were men that what? They had understanding of the times to what? Know what Israel
Are to do.
Y'all, your light bulb should have went on right there. Light bulb should. See, all these other men, the only thing they know how to do is fight. They're skilled at fighting. But they don't have understanding of the times and seasons, because the times and the seasons tells you what you ought to do.
Amen.
You can do the right thing at the wrong time.
Amen. Amen.
Are you with me?
Yeah.
It don't matter how skilled you are, how talented you are, how much of this you have and how much of that you have. If you don't understand the time, what time am I in? What is the season I'm in right now? Because that will tell me what I need to be doing right now.
Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Amen.
Light bulb ought to go on. Because so many times I don't know what to do. That's because you have no understanding of the times. You don't know the season you're in. So what's most important is to put your skills on the shelf and identify the time, the season. What season am I in?
Amen. Amen.
Are you with me? And when you know what season you're in, you don't need to fight as much.
That's right.
Amen.
You've eliminated a lot of your fight.
Yes.
You've eliminated a lot of your frustration, a lot of your pain, a lot of all the things you're dealing with. You eliminate all that problem when you just understand the time.
Yes.
See, that woman been producing so many babies, by the 4th, 5th baby, she just sit there because she know what this means. The reason my nose swole up, my ankle swole, my back hurting. She looking at it, she know, okay, it ain't gonna be long. She know, ain't no need me getting all bent out of shape because I'm ready to have this baby. And once I had this baby, guess what? All this is gonna be over with. Are y'all with me so far? Now look at Luke, and we're going to be through. Luke, the 5th chapter. Luke, the 5th chapter. Y'all ready?
Amen.
Here's the story in a nutshell. Preparing for the increase. We talk about the increase. I want you all to know what season we're in. We're in a season, things are changing in the spirit. Susanna, something has changed in the spirit. The reason you're here, because you just said it. For 5 months or 5 weeks, 4 Sundays, you wasn't even here. But something changed in the spirit. Something changed. Usually, when a person misses church, when they see the pastor, oh, there he is. Oh, Lord, because he gonna get that way you did. But no, you was, hey, you flagged me down to tell me I've been missing church. Why? Because something happened. A change took place. Who flags? I just want to tell you, I've been missing church a whole month, and she stressed it. A month. I'm like trying to figure out what she done said. A month. Okay. A month. I'm like, okay, what? I ain't been to church at all. A whole month. Because something happened.
Amen.
Something happened. And something has happened in all of us in the past week or so, the past couple of weeks. We all feel something has changed. Something is going on. And you can't put your finger on it, but you know, my normal feelings, thoughts, my normal life, it's been disrupted. It's like, I'm not feeling the way I used to feel.
Amen.
I'm not, you may be on autopilot where you're doing it, but I'm really not driven the way I was used to been driven. Mm-hmm. It's like just, I'm going, but I'm numb. Mm-hmm. I'm numb. And that's because we are getting ready to produce. Yeah, man. We're getting ready to produce. Amen. We're getting ready to birth something. Mm-hmm. And a woman that's bringing forth a child, before she bring forth that child, they say she is at the closest state of death that a person can actually experience without actually dying. So before she can produce, she has to die. Are y'all with me?
Amen.
Jesus here is getting ready to teach the multitudes. He sees the multitudes. He's ready to teach him, and he looks out and he sees some ships. And one of the ships are empty. So he says, you know what, I'll go in the ship and push out a little bit and I start teaching the multitude. So he gets into the ship. He said, all right, push out just a little bit from the sea. And he pushed from the land. They push out, sit down, and he start teaching. Then the 4th verse says, now when he had left speaking, or when he got through teaching, he said unto Simon, what? Launch out into the deep. And let down your net for a draught. Launch out into the deep. Now, on the surface, this has a natural meaning, but it also has a spiritual meaning too. The word launch in the original language, it actually means to return. Jesus actually is saying, go back to where you came from. Okay? Return to where? To the deep. Go back to the deep. These were fishermen. They were fishermen. You don't fish in shallow waters. You fish in deep waters. Mm-hmm. And they came in because they had, in Peter's own words, we've been out there all night. We've been doing this a long time. They were fishermen, meaning that was their profession. They were good at what they did. They took care of their families by fishing. Mm-hmm. Jesus, you can't tell us about fishing. We already know about fishing. Mm-hmm. We're good at fishing. We've made a living at fishing. And we've been out there using our skills and our abilities all night. Mm-hmm. And look at how Peter said. He says, we have toiled all night. He didn't say we were fishing all night. He said, we have toiled, and that word toil means feel fatigued, worked hard. It means pain. Say pain. 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 Actually, in the way the Romans expressed it was to beat their breast in grief. It's like, I'm so tired of this. And Peter was at that point where he was frustrated. No doubt Jesus is teaching, and he's sitting there, man, like, man, I'm gonna feed my family. Because I can't go another further. Been out there all night. I can't go home and tell them I didn't catch any. He didn't say we caught a few fish. He said we have taken in nothing. Can you work all night and not see any productivity? Can you imagine the grief, the pain that he felt? He was tired. He said, we've done this all night. All night. And ain't caught not one fish. This is something that's unusual. Mm-hmm. Have anybody in here experienced some unusual things lately? Amen. Some things that's beyond your ability to control, because as a professional, you know how to catch fish. Like I know how to catch fish. You can't tell me how to catch. But sometimes God will not even allow your own skills, your own abilities, your own talents to even work for you. The things you used to do that work really well, God will fix it where it won't work at all.
That's right.
It won't even work at all. And Peter here have to grapple with what Jesus is saying. What is Jesus saying? He says, return, go right back out there. Now, you can imagine, just think about what you were saying, going back out there. Why? I'm tired. I've been out there all night.
Mm-hmm.
There is nothing out there.
Mm-hmm.
If there was something out there, guess what?
No.
I'd have been in college.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus says, return, go right back. Here's what the spiritual connotation. He says, return to the pain.
Mm-hmm. Amen. Amen.
Go back to that place that hurt you. Go back to that place where you've never been healed from.
Mm-hmm.
Go back to that place of torment. Go back to that place of torture. Go back to the pain. I want to go back there. Nobody want to go back to the place that you finally escaped from.
Mm-hmm.
But look at what Jesus says. He says, launch, return to the deep. Now the word deep actually means, in the original Greek, bathos, which actually means mystery. Mystery. Because they were out there fishing all night and didn't take in nothing. They came back, and you can imagine, they're trying to understand what just happened. That don't make sense.
Mm-hmm.
That we can spend a whole night out there fishing and not catch not a minnow, not a nothing. And what Jesus said, go back to that mystical place. Go back to that mysterious place. Go back to that place where you said, why did this happen? Why did I have to go through this? Why? Go back to that place of pain. Listen to this. There were times in all of our lives where we can look back at a very mystical time of complexity where we've never got answers. A place where we were not able to put all of the pieces of the puzzle together. A place where you've never really understood what happened or why it happened. That place of mystery is usually that place of why. Why did I have to go through that? All that suffering, all that hurt, all that pain. Why did I have to grow up under extreme circumstances? Why was my childhood so traumatic? Why did I have to suffer so much abuse? God, why did you take my loved one? Why did you allow me to lose my job or my house, my car? Why did you allow my business to fail? Why did I have to go through that abusive relationship? Why did I have to go through that divorce? Why did my parents have to get divorced? Why did I have to go through so much emotional devastation? Why did I have to go through so much mental anguish, emotional anguish? Why did I have to deal with so much loneliness and low self-esteem? The disciples were professional fishermen and had toiled all night. Now they're at that place of pain. And they leave the place of pain. They're on shore. And Jesus says, go back. But this time, something's different going to happen.
Amen.
Something different going to happen. What's going to happen? He says, this time, carry a lot of nets. Look at what he says. Launch out into the deep and let down what? Number 4, fourth verse. Red, it's in red.
Nets.
Launch out in the deep and let down your what?
Nets.
With a net. He was preparing him. He says, something great is getting ready. A miracle's getting ready. Something's getting ready to happen.
Yes.
You need to get ready. Something's going to happen this time. Let down your nets for a what?
Drought.
A drought. Meaning that there's going to be a multitude. There's going to be an increase. Something is getting ready to happen. And you need to be prepared. And Simon answered and said unto him, Master, look at what he's saying. Master, you're smarter than me, right? Because you're my master. You're my Lord. You're my teacher. You're teaching me. But he says, Teacher, we have toiled all the night and have taken nothing. Here's what we have to go through right now, in this season we're in. What's the next word he says? We have taken in nothing.
Nevertheless.
That's where we are right now. That's where we are right now, nevertheless. I'm tired, I'm beat, I've been out of shape, I don't understand, I don't get it. My faith is weak, nothing is working for me right now. All these things that's going on in my life right now is just, it's in an uproar. So many things are happening, things are slipping between my fingers. But nevertheless, at thy word, I will let down. What did he say he's going to let down? Did he say he's going to let down nets? Jesus says, get all your nets. Get all your nets. Get all of them. Get all your nets. He said, because he's thinking, I know Jesus, he tripped it. He tripped it. I'm going to take a net out there just to say I did it. He took one net out there. And look at the 6th verse. And when they had this done, they enclosed what? A great multitude of fishes and so look at what they have to do with all the fishes that were supposed to be theirs. And they beckoned unto what? Their partners, which were what? In another ship. That they should come and help them. And they came and filled what? Both the ships. So that the ships began. I'm gonna let y'all minds stew on that. Jesus was ready to set them up. He was ready to set them up. But they partially obeyed. They partially, they did it, but they didn't do it. So what they could have gotten, they didn't get. Now, all of the fishes that were supposed to have been theirs, now they got to give it away. Because they couldn't even get it all. So now they got to let them get some and let them get some. Can you imagine? Come on. I almost had $1 million. Well, how much you got? I only got like $50. What? What are you doing? Jesus told me to take all my nets. I don't know what I was thinking. What you mean what you was thinking? You wasn't thinking. You wasn't thinking. When Jesus tells you to do something, you do what Jesus tells you to do. He's going to tell you to do things that don't make sense. He's going to tell you to do things that you won't be able to comprehend. He's going to tell you to do things that will tie your hands. He's going to tell you to do things. He goes, I don't need your skill.